Hi, my name is Selena, and with the ongoing conflict with Israel and Palestine, I had a question. My inquiry that I have now compiled research of was, to what extent is anti-Zionism anti-Semitic? By sharing my conclusions, I hope that it will allow people who are in the pursuit of truth of the conflict to understand the nuance between voicing criticism that is against Zionism versus ones that cross the line into being anti-Semitic. This is important and urgent because partially why the Israeli government can rouse support for their security measures against Palestinians is because the lines between anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism is not discussed widely enough. To even dive into the discussion, context on what Zionism is should be outlined. From the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, a commonly accepted dictionary in the US, Zionism is an international movement originally for the establishment of a Jewish national or religious community in Palestine, and later for the support of modern Israel. This is a mainstream definition. It is vulnerable to lacking historical narratives and perspectives from a diversity of groups. In this case, a perspective from a Palestinian. It is necessary to make sure to look at additional definitions. From the book The Zionist Ideas, Zionism is 3 fundamental pillars. 1, that Jews are a people, not just a religion. 2, Jews have particular ties to a homeland. And 3, Jews have the right to establish a state. By attaching the prefix anti onto Zionism, the word's meaning is appended and introduced a point of dispute. In reference to the English language system and the outlined definitions of Zionism from above, anti-Zionism is challenging, rejecting, and disagreeing the establishment of a Jewish national or religious community, that they are not people. There is a paradoxical side to this, however, because anti-Zionism, depending on what one's interpretation of what Zionism is, can allow people to express criticism against Israel without it being hate towards Jews. The key is being cautious on what one's catalyst for their opposition is, as well as what their desired objective is. Someone's opposition to Zionism can be because they believe that the existence of Israel is incompatible with Palestine self-determination, or that they are not capable of upholding equal rights between each other. People can be opposed to Zionism not because they are against the idea, but because they are against the practices. This line of thinking can be identified as critical anti-Zionism, where the primary endgame is about peace. The practices that people are against can be the Israeli military security on Palestinians, or land acquisitions that result in mass displacement. There is also negating anti-Zionism, whose endgame is characteristically extreme, looking for the dissolution of the State of Israel. This strand of anti-Zionism rejects the basic tenets of Zionism, but most importantly, it adopts anti-Semitic tropes that characterizes Israel, generalizes Jews, or delegitimizes their history. We can take a look at a few examples of negating anti-Zionist statements. Here we have, Jews are no different than Nazis. What they are doing to Palestinians is the second Holocaust. The problem with this statement is that it plays into the trope that Jews are Nazis, or the inherently evil stereotype, and that they generalize that anyone identifying as Jew is one. There is also, Jews aren't indigenous to the Middle East. They do not have the right to establish a homeland there. In this opinion, it denies the historical and cultural evidence of Jews. It implies that Jews do not have the right to self-determination. It should be acknowledged that some anti-Semitic people mask their anti-Semitic assertions as anti-Zionism. Anti-Semitic ideas can reach new audiences in anti-Zionist forums because the nuance between the two beliefs may not be as distinguishably recognized depending on the individual consumer. There are several critical insights from my research. 1. Someone's interpretation of anti-Zionism has a direct relationship to what they see Zionism as. This can lead to potential anti-Semitic connotations. 2. A general guideline for identifying whether an opinion has overstepped its boundaries from being a legitimate protest is figuring out the opinion's motive and what part of Zionism it contradicts. 3. Criticism can readily imply anti-Semitism when the foundation of their belief is drawn from anti-Semitic tropes, generalization of Jews, or delegitimization. Lastly, it is possible that certain stances under the label of anti-Zionism can be explicit anti-Semitism. With all these points laying out, to answer my initial inquiry, to what extent is anti-Zionism anti-Semitic? Anti-Zionism can, to a great degree, be anti-Semitic. Being an anti-Zionist does not, in all cases, equate you to being anti-Semitic. However, the two terms have distinctive attributes, but if spoken without caution and complete understanding, anti-Zionism can be anti-Semitic. Thank you.